Hello everyone. So this is going to be a series which is based on no bullshit guide to hacking. So there is a very naive concern around that you just learn a few tools, install Kali Linux and you can hack into systems, but that is definitely not true, and I can assure you hacking is more boring than what it seems to be. It is very boring, very laborious and very frustrating at times. Uh, so that's about it. It seems interesting on movies, but in reality it is not. But this is a very rewarding experience, and in this age where almost everything is going digital, knowledge of cybersecurity is very crucial. It is your power. It is a power. You can change. You can do many things. You can do some things which people with physical access cannot. And the best thing about it is that you can do it sitting in your dorm. So this is very powerful. This is very very significant. You can put significant impact in the world and put it towards a positive direction, defend it from the negative forces and many things like that. So it is indeed a superpower to have in this century. And then let's jump into what is required if you want to be good at it. So I think, and I've read many people's opinions online as well, that if you want to be good at hacking, you have to be good at something else in technical domain as well. Then only you can be good at hacking. So people who jump into cybersecurity come from typically three backgrounds. One is software development, one is sysadmin, one is networking. There are many more fields, but these three are the most common ones, and the best ones to make the transition is from the developer side, because developers who actually create the software know how it has been built, so they are better equipped with knowledge of how to crack it as well. Now that's enough, I think, motivation and the prerequisite. Now, to be very honest, everyone with curiosity and the eagerness, the enthusiasm to learn can definitely do it. It's just that there are some things that can help, some things which you can always do from the scratch. So in this guide, I'll be following many chapters, and this first chapter is about where I'll show how you can customize your working environment, and then some basic work that you can do in the most prominent software. So there are mainly three things that you will need. Is the terminal that you will install inside your Kali instance. Preferably you can use Kitty terminal. Inside the terminal you'll use Tmux for managing the session. It is a terminal multiplexer. And then you'll need to customize the Z shell, the shell basically which is running inside the terminal. And then we'll be using a Vim editor, but you don't need to focus more about it because it is actually quite complicated. So you are good with anything, but I prefer Vim. Now the thing is that if you use them, you'll be tending to customize it over time. So for customizing, you'll need something called .files manager. There are many solutions out there. People write their own scripts as well, but I'll show you something that can be helpful, which is Shemoa, the one that you see on screen. You can go ahead and install it. It's very flexible. You will just initialize it and then you do Shemoa edit, and you'll have all your files at one place. You make your changes here. I'm basically having one script for customizing my Z shell, for customizing Vim, and for customizing Tmux. I'll share a link to all of them maybe in the video description. Once that is there, you can just do Shemoa apply. Why it is required is so that you can make your configuration very portable, so that tomorrow you change your machine, you can just do very simple steps to get it started. So now that we are done, now I'll be showing you how you can so it is going to be split into multiple chapters. The first chapter will be talking mainly about, so I've been talking about how you set up the system. This is something that I can tell you, but you have to do it on yourself, because everyone has their own set of flavors and way of doing things and customizing stuff. So what I've told you, you have to look about it on the internet and try it on yourself, and eventually it will look something like what you see on the screen. It might be different, definitely, it depends on your taste. But don't worry, we'll continue to, during the course of time, I'll be showing you how you can do various stuff. So for now, just trust the process. The first chapter is going to be the command line fun, where I'll be showing you basic commands and how you can use them in day-to-day life. This is going to be very generic, so I won't be talking theoretical about it, maybe a few lines of introduction, but then I'll be solving one exercise to show how it works. So first we'll be talking about ls keyword. So using ls, you can see list files, list the directory. So basically there's nothing inside it. PWD to know in which directory you are, ls to list whatever is inside it. And hence there are multiple things like mkdir to create, which to know where it is installed, locate to know where the particular file exists on your system. Certain exercises, we'll be solving certain exercises in order to explain how things work. So this will be a very practical way of showing how to use certain tools that you can use in daily life. So these tools which are command line based are some things that you can use in day-to-day life, and it is not specific to cybersecurity. So let's jump right in. So I have compiled a list of exercises that will help you understand each topic. The first one says that use cat command in conjunction with sort in order to reorder the content of etc password file on your Kali Linux system. So the way you can read a file is using cat. Cat is for concatenate, concatenating the contents of a file to the terminal or the place where you're executing it. If you want to read more about any tools, you can use a tool called TLDR. Then you put the name of the tool that you're using, which in this case is cat. You'll get a very small information, and if you don't get, because TLDR is basically a community created tool, you can use man, which is for manual for this, and you can read and hit Q to get out of it. Cat etc password, then you get these contents. Don't worry, this is not critical. The point is that now if you read, you'll get contents in this way, but now if you pipe is for redirecting the output of one command to another command. So now we are saying that redirect the output of cat to another tool which is called sort in order to sort the output. So you see it is now sorted in alphabetical order. Then you can use U for the reverse, and then in multiple ways. This is basically redirection. So the question says use cat comma conjunction with sort to reorder content of a file on a Kali system. Okay. And now if you want to read about sort, then again you can use TLDR. I think it needs to be updated, but anyway, man always works. Sort the lines of a file, then you can pass these commands. So this is how you do the first statement. Second question says redirect the output of previous file to a file of your choice in your home directory. Now if I want to create a file in my own directory, I can use something called like this. This is for redirecting the output to a particular file descriptor, which in this case is a file here called maybe ps wd, whatever we can name it. So you'll see it'll create a file with this name and it will be having these contents. Now let's look at a few exercises to understand how basic commands work. So the first question says that using etc password extract the user and home directory fields for all the users on a Kali machine for which the shell is set to bin false. Make sure you use a bash one-liner to print out output. Okay, so let me show you how etc password actually looks. If you cat is the command used for printing to the screen, basically concatenate. It looks like this. So the first one is the user, second last is the location, the home directory, the second last is the, it is all terminated by colons. The second last, this one, I think it is, it is colon. So the second last is for the user SSLH, second last is its home directory, and this one is its shell. Like for root, you see second last, slash root is its home directory and this is its shell, Z shell. So this is what this question is saying. So it will look something like this. So now let's do it. You'll need piped redirection, which means if you do something like this, and then you can pass the output to some other command, like it says that the output of cat command, don't print it directly to the screen but feed it to this command, and then it will be outputted to the screen. So your WC on that, like just for counting words, it shows like this. Now if you want to check how many lines it has, you can do something like this. But here it says that cat this file, but show me only those whose shell is set to bin false. So now I'll just, if I can just filter, then it should be fine, right? If I do this, I can see these are the users whose shell is set to bin false. Now I need to print this line, the user, then the value of the user, the home directory is this. So then again we can feed it to awk, which is a programming language used for this purpose. So using F, you can pass the delimiter. I want to delimit, split basically using this character. You can use cut as well. So if you do cut with the field set to colon, and then if you want to just print the fields, that is the delimiter set to this, and if you want to print the field first, you'll see only the users, but you cannot do the thing like this, like the user MySQL home directory is and all. For that you'll need awk. What I'll do is that using awk, I'll use the field colon. Now I'll just print it out. I'll say print the user, then space, $1 is the first field. You don't need to use like cut where I'm using F field specific to $1 is the first field, then space, home directory is, then space, home directory is, then the field name, which is the second last. There are 7 fields, I'll use the second last. And if I just print it, you'll see user MySQL home directory is non-existent, like the first one. For Debian SNMP, home directory is valid SNMP. So you see it works. So this is the one-liner that you can use to achieve this exercise. I'll just put the solution here. This is for my note taking. Let me take screenshot of this. Okay, now the second question is copy this file to home directory. Okay, you can copy, I will be copying it to this directory that I am in currently. So for copy you need to do cp command. It is copy hc password to the current directory, which is dot. So you see this file has been copied here as psswd. Okay, it is done. Now use cat in one-liner to print the output of calibration and replace all instances of genome display manager string with GDM. Okay, let me see which all fields have this string. We can use grep as usual, so we'll be using grep as the filter for pasting this. I don't know why this paste messes up kitty. So there is no genome display manager, unfortunately. So is there anything for only genome? Oh, sorry, I think there was issue with, oh, still there is nothing. So there is nothing like genome display manager in PassWD. Even I was surprised, like why is it saying like this? Anyway, what we can do is that since this particular string is not there, but we can use some other example too. Like if you do, and if I check all the instances of maybe root. Okay, now I can do, okay, let's change root with maybe the opposite, TWR, or root change it with a node, tree with plant. I'll change it with plant. Nice. How we can do is that maybe we can use line editor, which is sed, for replacing. Inline, let me use this command, substitute root with plant globally. Let's see. Yeah, so what we did is that I replaced all the instances of root with plant. So wherever you were seeing root earlier, you're seeing now plant. Now if we make it a bit strict check, yeah, now I wanted to make it strict because you'll see that in ch root it becomes ch plant, but that was not the goal. The root used to be unique, so it was just matching the pattern. So I used w to match exclusively, so now only root fields are there, like no substring of root, and we change all the occurrences using plant. So now the sed command, what it is doing is I'm telling it that substitute all instance of root with plant globally, so wherever you see, and not just the first instance. So this is how you replace all instances of root with plant. Since we changed it, let me change it that I'm saying that I'll replace all instances of root with plant. Why we did that is because I was not able to find this string. Okay, so we changed the question in order to answer. Now let's go to the next exercise. This is that download the archive of the following URL. Okay, Let's copy this URL. I'll download it using curl. I'll tell the output to scan dot gz. Let's check if it has been downloaded. Okay, it is a compressed file, so let's untar it. So we can go to the scans. Now it says that I want to check the difference of, so it was the same scan done at different time intervals. So for 118 to 1 and then 2, for 234 is 1 and then 2, for 8 1 and 2. So you need to compare. So there are different ways in which you can compare. So first way is that you want to see what are the common things. So this is the first one. I'll use 3 tools: com, diff, and then vimdiff. Let me use it this way. First I'll show you the use of com, which is 0 1. So you'll pass 2 files to it. Now if you want to see what are the common, you can have a look at it this way. Input is not in sorted order, so there is not much you could see. What it shows is that the first one, the data on the left is what is common in 1, and on the right, which is common to 2. Since it is not in sorted order, I think that's why the output result is a bit messed up. So let's try with a different one, which is the diff tool. So it works the same way, but it shows the difference of what the second has with reference to the first one. Okay, then so you pass the 2 files, and now you'll see the ones that is in red is the one that is not present in the second one. Basically, what is the difference? So you see this line, the previous one, it says that it was done at 2:20 p.m. and it was done at 2:26 p.m. So this was the first line of difference. Then it says that the difference was that, again, the same. And then the last line is that these are the 2 differences in the files. So that's how you see that red is the one that is not present and green, which is the addition. Third tool that we can use for the same thing, which I think is the best one to understand, because com and diff might be a bit complicated to look at. So this is the one that I use. So let me show you this one. Vimdiff 10.1.1.118. Sorry, 10.11.1.118, and then 10.11.1.118. Okay. So this will give you more comprehensive difference. So you see, left side is the one that is not present, and right is the one that shows that it has been present in the file. You can use opening square bracket C to go to the previous difference, and closing square bracket and C to go to the next difference. I'm going line by line. So you see the first scan seems that it didn't report any output. You can close this difference by using :QAL to quit all. You can put exclamatory to force quit all the open instances. Now if I carefully look at the first one, there shouldn't be any scan result, and yeah, that's right, the first one didn't have anything. And if I open the other one, 10.11.1.118 scan 2.txt, you will see the other one actually had this. So vimdiff was able to show us a more clear picture of all the differences. So I think that answers what is the difference. So we can show the first one. We can just take a screenshot of this too. Just take a note of it that we used vimdiff to check the difference between the two files. And we can do similar approach for the other files as well for checking the difference. So vimdiff is the way to do. Now let's jump to the next questions, which will again incorporate use of some tools which will help you understand some certain tools even further. So now the question says, find all the files that have changed on your Kali virtual machine within the past 7 days by running a specific command in the background. So you can use find command. You can read more about it using TLDR or TLDR needs to be updated anyway. Using man, you can find man. I want to read the manual for find. Find will be used here. So if you see, it uses a flag called mtime, using which you can actually check what were the files that were updated or moved in certain time interval. So mtime actually shows that what files were changed in n days of difference. So you want to check all the files that were updated. So what it says is within past 7 days, so less than 7 days. So if I wanted to check all the files that were changed in more than 7 days, I would have used +7, but in less than 7 days I'll use -7. So these are the files that were changed in my current directory. But if I want to check all the files that were changed in the root, the entire file directory, I can use something like this. So these were the files that were changed in 7 days. Now rerun the previous command and suspend it using the suspend and then background it. How you can suspend and background is using either ampersand symbol at the end or Ctrl+Z. Bring the previous job to the foreground. Now once I suspend it, it will go to the background. Now if I want to bring it to the foreground, I'll use a command called fg. Now start Firefox browser in Kali system and use psgrep to identify PID. Okay, and then I'll terminate it using terminal itself. And now let's rerun it, but this time we will suspend it. We'll use Ctrl+Z. That has been suspended. You can see what files are suspended using jobs command. So you'll see one is this suspended. Now if I want to foreground it, I'll use fg. It will bring it to the foreground again. Okay, so we're done till 2. Now for 3, it is saying that we need to run Firefox. So that means, so Firefox is already running. I'll use ps aux command to list all the running processes, but if I can just grep it for Firefox, tell me these are the instances of Firefox which are currently running. Since there are many instances, I'm not sure which one is exactly the browser. I think this is because there are lots of open tabs for it. We can just put watch in front of it to make it run every 2 seconds. What happens if I close it this way? So there are no instances running. Let me run Firefox. Firefox ESR this is. Now if I do the same command, okay, now I need to find one instance of Firefox. So this is the process ID 2439813. I'll copy it using this copy mode of tmux, which allows me to navigate on the screen itself. I copied it. Now what I'll do is that I'll do kill this process ID. So you see Firefox is now terminated. Now if I do psaux again, you'll see it is not there. This is just for the grep command that is currently running. So we have done this. Let us take some screenshot just to I don't think this is required, but let's put this one screenshot as a proof. Now let's jump to this question. It is saying that start the Apache 2 web service. Okay, let's see if Apache 2 is even running. I think it is running. It is inactive. Let's start a service using system control. You can use it this way. Apache 2. Using this way, you can start a service. System start is service basically. Now it is running. Now if you want to check its logs, access.log. Okay, so access.log is here, var log apache 2 access.log. So if you can read the logs in real time, now if I try to access Apache, is it running on 8080 or 80? So it is running on this page. This should have logged. Yeah, so when I tried to access this, I got this log. So this way I am just reading the logs. So I've started use a combination of watch and PS to monitor most CPU intensive processes on your Kali machine in terminal window. Okay. If I do PS command, PS with A command, shows all the services that are currently running. If I can delimit it using space and print the fields 1 and 1 2 3 4 4, I think this will show, sorry, this difference. So the question says that, okay, so I'll use PS and AUX to list all the functions that are currently running, and I'll use watch over it in order to run it. So what watch does is that it runs a particular program in a specific time interval. So if I use watch and ls, I don't think it will change because ls is pretty much static even if it runs after every 2 seconds. What we can do is I watch, then compare use AUX with it. So in this way it will be running the system after every 2 seconds and output all the functions that are there, all the basically processes running on the system. Okay, now since this is running, let's try running few more processes to see how this list changes. Maybe we can run, I don't know, maybe a text editor, maybe I don't know, OneHub. So you see there was one spike in memory and CPU consumption. So the idea is that you pair watch and PSOX, then you can monitor in real time the CPU intensive processes. Now let's dive to the last question, which says that I have to download a POC code for an exploit from this website using curl, wget and axel. So let's see what is the difference by using any of the three. So this is the website. Now let's download it for oh okay, Grafana one. This is fairly new. Okay, so how would you download it is that there's a download button. I just right click and copy the link address. Now let's use wget first, wget, then the URL, and then you don't need to pass anything. So this file 50581 now has the exploit. So we downloaded it using wget. Now if you want to use curl, the process is similar. You just need to provide the name of the file where you want to download it. I'll name it as curl exp. So now it is downloaded. Now if you use Axel for downloading, it is the same, but you can use parallel connections. Maybe I'll use 10 connections to download the same. The speed won't matter here much because the file is very small, but still this is something good to know about, that this method exists, that you can download it very fast. You can even compare the speeds using time command if you want. So these are 3 ways in which you can download, basically paste the URL and the output file.